welcome back to even more Bible study with us, the drunkest hosts ever. No, kidding.
No, far from the drunkest
we're
hosts
not really.
ever.
Yeah,
No,
just,
I've listened to some podcasts with drunker hosts. That's true.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm
Or
sure.
maybe
I'm just a hungry
the
host.
buzzest hosts.
The buzzedest
ever?
hosts.
Yeah, we're pretty
Yeah.
buzzed. Yeah, so this is going to be for what, numbers 16 and 17, right? Yeah. Yeah, and today I was really interested in what does God look like?
You were really
And-
interested in that.
I was like, what is God? And I've said this apparently
You're
a lot.
like,
I don't
"What if
remember saying
God
it.
was one of us.
Exactly. But it's funny because I thought that like he is there is this like comparison to man, right? To
Right.
men
Yeah.
in the or
Well,
us
there's
just
in Genesis, it's that
In
he
his
made man
image.
in his image. Yes,
Right.
and so people
Genesis
take that to mean
127.
God must be shaped like a human.
Yeah, something along
So-
those lines. So I looked up a thing called allaboutgod.com.
Wow. Okay. That's
Oh-
a good
oh,
URL. Whoever got that.
allaboutgod.com. Yeah. And so yes, they essentially were talking about image, God being made in man's image, but interestingly, the Hebrew word for image translates as an outline or representation of an original, as a shadow is the outline of its original,
Huh.
Okay,
Okay.
That
which
is
is interesting. Yeah,
So
exactly.
The idea that
So
it could be God's like kind of just a shadow of himself and not really the real deal.
yeah, exactly. I don't know. I really don't know. But so apparently any insight to what does God look like requires an extraordinary encounter. So like in Genesis when Jacob was wrestling with God. So apparently God came as close to Jacob as possible. The Creator's hands were physically placed on him. I remember that.
right, because Jacob like had his hip broken or something.
Yeah, exactly. Probably
Yeah.
just by like God's like intense hands. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
apparently it's not permissible for God's face to literally be seen,
Uh-huh.
which was something that happened in Exodus. So when Moses encountered God as a blazing bush, he feared looking at God. And then it says even Moses' intimate relationship in which the Lord spoke face to face contained limitations. So in seeking God's glorious presence, Moses is reminded, you may not look directly at my face, for no one may see me and live.
Yeah, totally. No, do you remember that from Exodus?
Yeah, that's in Exodus, which is rough. So like, yeah, so that whole thing that we're talking about where God like is kind of in a bath, or yeah, he's in a bath towel, like poking his head out, and Moses can't look at him, but it's just like, okay, God, I'm taking down your information on a notepad while you're getting out of the shower. Like that sort of works out here.
See, when I was a child, there was a children's Bible that portrayed God as like the pretty stereotypical big beardy grandfather in the
Boy,
sky.
yeah.
And pretty much my entire Christian career, that was how I envisioned God. Like that was, I couldn't, even when I wanted to envision God as something else, I couldn't
Yeah.
get that image out of my head of just the big beardy man in the sky.
Is that how you still see?
No, definitely not.
Oh.
Now looking at this God in the Old Testament, I definitely see someone younger and more petty. Like I see
gosh.
God
What does
as
petty
like
look like,
a
Dedeker?
man who just hit his like midlife crisis. Is how I see
I see, rather than the
Yahweh.
old beardy
Like,
man. Okay.
he's
So
he's not
maybe-
an old beardy man. He's not a young attractive man. It's like he's a man who is desperately grasping on to his power and relevancy,
So
and will do it any way he can. That's
maybe-
how I see God.
by the New Testament, he becomes that old beardy man. Because,
Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. I'll have to read it because this is all new, you know, just reading it now, this time with like adult eyes and a fresh perspective. I'm like, this is what, like I said, he's like this weird middle-aged abusive boyfriend, basically.
Yeah, I agree with you.
How did you used to imagine God, Jace?
I mean, yeah, definitely the sort of, fatherly beardy figure was like the pictures that I saw. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we all kind of got a similar thing. Like, it's like the God of the Sistine Chapel roof, right? It's like the God
Yeah,
who's
without him.
old, beardy, but also still ripped, You know, like that's the God.
See, I never imagined
Old,
God as
beardy,
ripped.
and ripped.
I mean, not maybe ripped, but like in shape, you know.
He's definitely cut, you know.
He's so cut.
Right. Do you see what I'm talking
Just
about?
a tiny
Emily?
bit shredded.
Yeah, no, kind of cut. I'm sorry to say this.
A tiny bit shredded, you know.
Just a tiny bit.
I mean,
yeah.
for an old guy, right?
Yeah.
But
wait, you two continue for a moment.
Okay, you're gonna look up some cool things. Well, I was gonna say, Emily, did you know that there's a word for this, for seeing God?
What?
It's theophany.
I did not know that. Theophany.
Theophany is
Wow.
the word for seeing the physical form of a deity. And this is this applies to, like, you know, any mythology, like Greek and Roman mythology or whatever. The word comes from ancient Greek. But yeah.
So theophany?
Yeah. So it's like the referring to the appearances of gods in Eastern religions or in Greek mythologies or whatever. Anyway, so that's this term that's generally used for talking about these certain instances where God has appeared, whether it's the burning bush or the pillar of fire or on Mount Sinai when God was like, I'm going to cover your face so you can't see me until you only see my back as I'm walking away. Whatever,
that's
those
a lot
are all
safer.
Yeah, because no one can see my face and live. So yeah, that's called theophany.
Weird.
Theophany.
Okay.
I guess like an epiphany, but thea, like a god, right?
Like
theology.
Yeah, theology,
Theophany.
like God. Yeah.
Well, what's fanny? What's fanny?
What is fanny? I don't know. What does fanny mean? Do you want to look it up? Should I look it up?
I'm Googling it really quick. A
gonna say
manifestation or appearance. That's
Okay.
Greek. Yes. Okay.
So epiphany, what's epi mean then?
God dang it. Like an EpiPen?
Right,
Yeah,
like
an
EpiPen. It means upon, on, over, near, or at. So an epiphany, I guess, to sort of like to come upon something, to like
come upon.
see
Yeah,
something
okay,
all
that
of a
makes
sudden, the
sense.
appearance of something all of a sudden. An
That makes
epiphany.
sense.
I like that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Cool.
On this episode
Great.
of bonus English study,
Yeah, it's something y'all love.
Can I complain about Aaron?
Yeah, please.
I mean, yeah,
please do.
sure.
Okay.
Why is he God's favorite boy?
I feel like my perception of Aaron when I was young was like, yeah, Aaron, sidekick to Moses. Great. Like, good guy. Yeah, totally. We like Aaron. And now reading it, I'm like, he's
a mastermind.
He's a mastermind. It's like you connect all the dots. He never gets in trouble.
No.
He gets all the benefits.
Yeah.
He gets all the power. He doesn't get any of the direct criticism that like Moses gets. Like
You're
people grumble to
absolutely
Moses,
right.
they don't grumble to Aaron. I'm like, this just seems a little too suspicious to me.
I agree with you. So why do you think that is, that Aaron is God's chosen boy?
Well, I mean, if I'm looking at this in a way where I think that Yahweh is a construct made up by Aaron and Moses to control the people, then I'm like, well, clearly that's that. But that's a little extreme.
Wow.
A little extreme. I'm not sure why Aaron is actually Yahweh's favorite boy. It's all a little bit shifty, I think.
Yeah.
I did learn though that so Aaron is also in the Quran. A lot of these stories are also in the Quran.
Right.
And specifically the story with the golden calf, Aaron is actually 100% innocent in that story.
What?
Where it's Moses goes out to Mount Sinai.
Right.
And Aaron's trying to prevent the people from making the golden calf, but in the Quran, it's actually made by a different man. It's made by a wicked man by the name of As-Samiri. As-Samiri is the one who makes the golden calf. And Aaron is the one who's like, no, please don't. And when Moses comes back, he does get mad at Aaron, being like, how could you allow this? And Aaron tries to be like, I know, I'm so sorry, but like, I didn't make it, like, please, I thought they were going to murder me. I think that was also the thing, is that like, he kind of gives her the defense of like, I thought that the people were going to kill me if I didn't allow them to do this. So he's like,
wow.
He was kind of more of a bystander, more of an enabler, I guess. Maybe under duress, perhaps, in the Quran.
Wow, that's interesting. I didn't know
fascinating. Yeah, I didn't either. Wow.
Yeah.
It's a very different
Which I
telling
think-
of that story from what we read.
It
where
is
he's
very
just
different
like,
telling.
for sure.
Who dropped
He's
some
like,
gold in
and
the fire?
I
and
threw
it-
some stuff.
I
I'm
know.
sorry. Whoops. Wow. Yeah, totally.
So maybe again in the Quran version of things, maybe Aaron was guilty and he was just like, I'm just gonna blame this guy. He did it. Or maybe he truly was innocent. I don't know.
I don't know. Fascinating. Well, I'm interested to see where Aaron's story goes because, yeah, I like how it ends because everyone is eventually going to die. I mean, I know we're taking like a long time with Moses and Aaron and everyone, but eventually we're
Yeah.
going to move on from it. And what
That's
is
true.
that going to entail?
Yeah, who's gonna be
Yeah.
next?
Yeah.
Who's gonna be picking up those marionette strings next?
Right. So I tried to look into a little bit more about falling on one's face. This falling
Now,
on his
how
face.
exactly
thing
did you
ever.
go about researching that? I am curious.
It was a little bit of a challenge to find things. However, that wording of falling on his face is somewhat specific, it turns out. So
Because it's not like fall on your knees, which is in the, what is it? Oh Holy Night.
yes, not like that Christmas song.
What if it was? But what if it was? Fall on your
your
face.
Yeah.
Oh, here. Yeah, exactly. Good Lord.
Because Yahweh's gonna burn everybody. Okay, so the deal is that there are this idea of prostration, right? Of like lowering yourself to the ground in front of someone or something.
Yeah.
There's two different Hebrew ways of saying this, not even just words, but like one's a word and the other's a phrase. But one is the falling on one's face, and then the other one is bowing low. And the bowing low could be anything from the Japanese dogeza of like you're kneeling and you're putting your face all the way on the ground to just like bowing very low from a standing position. It kind of covers that whole range of just like
Okay, so
a low bow.
it could have possibly not involved any facial contact with the ground.
See,
However-
no, I want the face on the ground, okay? All the way.
So that's the other word. The one used
I
here
see.
is falling on one's face, which is a little more dramatic, let's say.
Yeah, for sure.
So the falling on one's face specifically happens 27 times in the Hebrew Bible.
What? Jeez.
It happens 7 times before another person as an expression of submission.
Wow.
11 times before a manifestation of God from being overcome with awe.
Okay.
And then 9 times, and this is the one that we saw here, which is 9 times in order to initiate conversation with God. So this particular thing, this is on mtorah.com, which is the Midrash Torah.
Torah.
Torah. It talks about, it's basically that generally Yahweh speaks to Moses or to Aaron or to someone else. But in this case, they were like, we need Yahweh now. So we're going to like pick up the bat phone and fall on our face.
I'm just going to make that joke.
I love
Pick
that.
up the Yahweh phone by falling on your face.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that it's like, that's the deal. And
the
so
gateway to Yahweh.
gateway to Yahweh, yes. So this particular article I found was kind of interesting because it was basically making the case that like some commentators proposed that them falling on their face was them prostrating themselves to the people coming up. You know, because that's kind of what it sounds like if you read it in
Yeah,
our
it does.
context. It's like they came up and complained and they fell on their face. But
Yeah.
this particular writer whose article I found that I thought kind of went into a little more depth than others was saying that basically nowhere in the Bible does someone in authority bow down or fall on his face to someone underneath him. And
Okay.
so the idea that this would happen would be just doesn't fit, just doesn't make sense. And instead, they're saying that the flinging themselves on their faces is to get Yahweh to respond right away. It's
Wow.
like this.
So, okay, I know
it's
for
like
sure
it's like paging him 911, you know.
there's for sure been a pastor somewhere who's made that observation of like, you just go through life just like praying to God, being like, oh God, hope you help me out with this, hope you help me out with that. But you'll notice that in the Bible, God is the one who starts the conversation unless you fall on your face.
That's good. You've come up with a lot of good like sermons lately.
I
feel
could
like-
definitely write that sermon about how you need to prostrate yourself first before Yahweh's going to come a calling to help you.
It's funny. Let me just read you the headline of this other article that I found by Rabbi David Evan Marcus. How to Fall on Your Face, the Spiritual Art of Leadership.
What?
Fascinating.
Yeah. So he basically kind of went in that direction, right? Of being like, you've got to be humble to lead.
Gracious.
Which honestly,
Well,
when
get
I
that.
read it,
I like that.
I got a little bit more of a like, cool. So we're trying real hard to paint Moses as just always the good guy here, but you know,
Right.
Well,
that's
sure,
the
of
case.
course.
I still have a better taste in my mouth about Moses than about Aaron, though, honestly.
Yeah, I agree with
Yeah.
you.
So
I still feel like Aaron is on the stuff list.
the
Or wait,
stuff
you
list.
say it's okay to say the S word because you
I
say it all the
guess.
time
I think so.
on this show. I'm not going to say it.
The poop list.
The poop list. Aaron's on the poop list. Moses is still on the goop list. I don't know.
The gooping and pooping. Okay.
Oh boy.
Well-
So this article makes this interesting case here specifically about when then the people come back the next day and are like, you killed. Okay, first of all, says the next day, this is the quote. The next day, all the Israelites protest against Moses and Aaron, blaming them for the death of 253 people. And I'm like, hang on.
200, who are the,
Because it was
the other
250
three
plus Korah,
people?
Danath, and Abiram.
Oh, okay. I was like, who
Yeah.
are the three people?
And their families and everyone associated with them. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, buddy, pal, Mishra Torah writer person, if you really want me to believe that like you're the authority on this, then pay a little more freaking attention to what it says in this good, very good book. I'm just like, come on, it's not 253 people. It's probably more like 280 or maybe more, right? Like
More than
let's
that, yeah.
let's be real here. Anyway, that bothered me. So you lost some points. You lost some points.
Women and children don't matter, apparently.
I guess so, yeah.
It's true. Obviously, Chase. Come on.
Yeah, come on.
But he goes
As the
on.
resident male.
Yeah. But he
They're
goes
not worthy
on.
of being counted.
He goes on to say that then when they come up and Yahweh's like, get away from them, I'm going to burn them on up, that instead of following that order and running away, they throw themselves down on their faces. And that's kind of what stops God and allows them to go out and save some people from this rapidly spreading epidemic.
I see.
This plague that's just like wiping people out left and right, that they're able to run out and save them because they threw themselves on their faces before Yahweh and then went
Well,
out
good
and
for
did the
them.
incense.
Can
It's
we
good for
take
them.
this? Seems like it's a tangent, but I promise it's related.
Okay.
Can we take like a field trip out to Bible Land in Orlando or whatever it's called?
to go there for so long.
Excuse me?
Yeah. I think
What
it's
in Lord's Yahweh's name is by the land?
I think it's called the Holy Land Experience.
Yeah, the Holy Land Experience. That's what I was thinking.
And
Yeah.
why, pray tell, is it in Orlando?
Because, you're going to fly out to go to Disneyland and you're going to go to the Holy Land Experience too. And Universal Studios, like you bundle it all together.
Right.
Do they have bundles for all three? I bet they do.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah.
Looking at their website, I now really, really, really want to go.
I know, seriously. Really, really, really want to go. I was at a murder mystery dinner actually a few months ago with some people who I like kind of knew through some friends, but they were talking about their experience going to the Holy Land Experience and highly recommended it. Also had very critical things to say about it, but highly recommended going to see it.
Really?
Because it's hilarious, or why?
They were there specifically on Easter and
Oh, boy.
said that
Oh, wow.
during Easter, like during the couple weeks surrounding Easter, they do the crucifixion of Jesus.
course.
What, excuse me?
They reenact it and what have you. I think
With a guy?
like 4 or 5 times a day.
Mhm.
So
What?
it's like a
Yeah, it's like a parade,
yeah, you gotta do it
you
over
know,
and
at
over
Disney,
again.
you have like Goofy
Yeah,
and Donald,
exactly.
and then at this
Right.
place, you have a crucifixion.
Well, it's only
Okay.
$50. It's a lot cheaper than Disneyland is.
Wow, well, it's a steal. It's a bargain.
But they were
Gracious.
saying that particularly what they pointed out when they went a few years ago was that, first of all, the guy who plays Jesus has apparently been playing Jesus here for like 30 years or something like
So
that.
he
Like,
should be God
he's-
by now.
He's basically God. And that all of the, in this case, the Jews who are crucifying him were played by Mexicans, was what he told me. I don't know if that's
awful.
true. I don't get that impression from the videos on their website, but that was his impression of it from going there. So
Okay.
very interesting.
I'm gonna veto that. Maybe y'all can
Why?
go.
No,
Are you
Emily,
kidding me,
what?
Emily? Are you kidding me?
Okay.
Are you kidding me?
Okay, everyone, please go to change.org, sign our petition to get Emily to go to the Holy Land Experience.
Okay. Well, we can discuss it at some point.
Oh, this is going to be
I'm
amazing.
Flying down to Orlando
This seriously
to like.
looks amazing. What if we also hooked you up with a trip to Disneyland in Orlando?
I mean,
Then
fine.
would you go?
Could
Yes.
we bribe you with Disney to go to the Holy Land
Yes.
Experience?
Maybe.
Okay.
I've only been to Disney World once, and I was very young, so I'd totally be down to go
I've
again.
never been to
Yeah,
Disneyland.
yeah, I was
Disney
only there when
World.
I was 7.
You've
so.
definitely been to Disneyland.
I've been
Dedeker
to
and I have both
Disneyland,
gone
yes.
with you.
Yeah.
But I
Okay.
haven't
So we'll
been to
go.
Disney
We'll
World.
fulfill our childhood dreams of like going back to Disney World, and then we'll go to the Holy Land Experience.
Oh, I'm so excited. Oh, I'm so excited.
All right, we'll document it for all y'all, but it's not going to be happening right this second.
Yeah, this isn't going to
but
happen anytime
someday.
soon, but
If you want to help us out with that, come become a patron.
all right.
We promise we'll bring you many experiential like goodies and all of our info on what the Holy Land experience was like.
Right. All right, everybody. We will see you next time.